I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Inshallah, I try not to be late again. Well, my mistake, not Ahmed's mistake. Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا اغفر لي ولوالدي وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين آمين. So this will be the continuation of the last week's subject, the same title. We are, those people who are there are familiar with the title. So title doesn't, tells a lot, but doesn't really specifically mention something. A journey through the verses of the Qur'an. Of course, it means that we are going to study the subject through studying some verses of the Qur'an. And also, without losing the balance, how can we really walk throughout life? So our life. So what I mean by in real time, spontaneously, on the matter. When the matter happens, how can I solve my problem there? Without referring it to another realm of creation, another space of creation, whatever, another space or another time. Just be with myself and handle my problems as they occur. So it is difficult, but we challenge this. I cannot guarantee the answer, but at least we can really diagnose the problem and try to get the answer as much as we can. If we don't have an answer, we will say, we don't know about this matter, we have to investigate further. So we will be frank about that. But I really need your contributions, not necessarily that you have an answer. If you do have the answer, you are most welcome. If you don't, please don't hesitate to ask the questions. Whatever bothers you, anything bothers anybody with human, we are human beings, so it's a human question. Anyway, even if we know or if we don't know, we have to prepare ourselves for every human question. Yeah, we don't take for granted that we are Muslims, we believe in this way. If you don't, go to hell. You don't do that. Yeah, we shouldn't. It's wrong. So the following verse we studied last week, and that was the only verse we could study last week. So I'm just passing without. Here we are. So first we will read the verse of the Qur'an. When we read the verses of the Qur'an, or the Quranic sentences, we will bear in mind that Qur'an is a guiding speech of my Creator. We will never forget that. So although Qur'an says this matter is this matter is that, gives the, it seems to be the Qur'an comes with an certain static answers, certain static answers. But because of the definition of the Qur'an, speech of God, we will listen to the verses, but we won't take it for granted. We will say, oh, at least supposedly, in quote unquote, supposedly my Creator tells me this, I will turn to myself and say, what does it mean for me? I will respond it back. How can I really benefit from it? And at the end, how can I really confirm that it is reality? That's my reality. So we will be open there. Being open doesn't mean that we will reject it from the beginning, but being open means we will question what it means for me in my practical life. How can I benefit from it? And does it satisfy me? Does it really confirm my human qualities? It means, after reading this verse, can I have the peace in my own human qualities, human being? Can I have the peace? It means I'm comfortable with this idea. That's really correct. So all these verses, directly or indirectly, are related to the subject of divine determining, which is called in Arabic al-qadr, or iman bil-qadr, belief in qadr, God's determination. Of course, we know this, but at the same time, we will try, if we can. We will try not to jump into the subject of divine determining itself, but we will, of course, refer to it, but try to keep our discussions around the verse we are studying, or the topic of the verse we are studying. So it will prepare us, actually, to understand divine determining. We won't use our understanding of divine determining in order to understand this verse. On the contrary, we will try to understand these kind of verses. We will have more, God willing, so that we will get ready what really divine determining means, or belief in divine determining means. So I will confirm or not. Hopefully, I will have a positive answer, satisfactory answer for my belief in divine determining. What does it mean? What does divine determining mean for me? This question is really very alive, very practical, very hot subject, but we won't shun away from it. Even if we cannot have the answer, satisfactory answer, we will admit we don't have the answer. Inshallah, we will try something, but we will try. Okay, Bismillah. Arabic. Welcome. Would you like to read? No? You? Yeah, you? No? Who would like to read? Okay, Bismillah.
ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون.
I think most of us, most likely that we heard the last piece, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Also we refer to our discussions quite frequently. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Not only somebody dies, for my personal life and at the moment, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We always emphasize on importance of understanding this. So let's read the translation and a rough idea what the verse is talking about. Well, verses, two verses actually. Who knows how to read English? Okay.
And most certainly shall we try you by means of danger and hunger and loss of worldly goods, of lives and of labors' fruits. But give glad tidings unto those who are patient in adversity, who, when calamity befalls them, say, verily, unto God do we belong, and verily, unto him we shall return.
It has a general idea what the verses, these two verses are saying. So definitely, as soon as we read the these verses, something must have come to our mind. Positive, negative, doesn't matter. If so, why? Or positive. You know, did you have anything Any idea about these verses? What are they talking about? Definitely you have some questions, and I have some critical even. When you say this, or why? I don't want to say my. Okay, what did you?
Sounds like a parent telling their kid like even when we like beat you up or something, you have to respect us, you know. Like we're your elders, you have to respect us. It's like saying even like when calamity, like something, you know, when we're yelling at you, and then it says, "Verily unto God do we belong, and verily unto Him we shall return." It's like saying, even when I punish you, even when I do bad to you, you still have to respect me, you know. Like
No?
that type of thing.
One impression, that's definitely an option that human beings get with impression. It means whatever happens, heartless I am. Oh, what shall I do? I cannot really say anything to the boss. So this verses gives an impression first on us. Do you agree? Do you say these verses are saying, really stating the truth, or question it? For everybody? Okay. Your sister from, yeah.
Yeah, so I personally agree. I think that those are all of the things, many of the things that we hold dear in life, and we're going to be tested. It's saying to me, it's saying that you're going to be tested with loss of all of these things. And at some point in our life, we may lose our job, we may lose our loved one, we may lose our wealth. And when that happens, that we should be patient and we should say in our life in a way of
I have two questions. What do we mean if something happens? I'm not asking you personally, to everybody, to think about it. What does it mean to be patient? Why should I be? I don't like it. And another question comes, why am I tested with these calamities? Put it in a umbrella term. Calamities. Why am I tested with these calamities? Why is he testing me? Does he know what I am doing? And okay, he will learn it. Is he going to give me a degree at the end or fail me in my class? What's going on? If I'm here, I didn't ask him to bring me here, and he's taking me away, even if whoever brought me here, even if I don't want to go, he said, oh, go, finish. I decide, you don't. Why is it so? Why this world is like this? We know that these things are happening. Yeah, I agree with the sister. These things are happening now by means of danger, hunger, loss of worldly goods, and loss of lives, and loss of labor's fruits. I work, at the end, something happens, the flood comes and takes all my harvest away. I'm left with nothing. Why? What's going on? These are my questions. I feel that whether we dare to ask these questions or we don't, the questions are there in minds, everybody's minds. It doesn't mean that there is no answer, but the questions are real. We cannot deny it. If we deny it, it means we are escaping into ignorance, negligence, and pretending to be satisfied with something I'm not satisfied in reality. So we have to talk about it. Did you want to say still something?
I just wanted to ask a question about danger. Because danger, I feel like that should be relative, and if we understand our God to be, compassionate and merciful, the word danger kind of just threw me off. Unless that's just not a valid or adequate translation.
Okay, you are not happy with the
Hope,
translation.
scared.
Khawf means really something you are scared, fear.
Right.
Fear, scared or fear. Okay, that's because we don't really pay attention to, because if something must be dangerous, so that you are scared of it. But the translation, of course we know that, but we are not really trying to find out the best translation. No, 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 it's not our concern. We are just trying to understand the whole concept of the verse. So whether it is danger, well, there are dangerous things, aren't there? Here, there are dangerous things. So whether, yeah, really the word refers to my fear of something. I am afraid of, that something may happen. Because there are fearful things are happening. Okay, okay. Hunger, loss of worldly goods. But translation is not our concern. We are not defending the translation at all. Just I took from among the already translated one and edit something practically and pass. Because we are not going to concentrate on a verbal translation of the text. Yep. Afterwards.
What I'm getting from this, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that it depends on the individual's perception whether what they're being tested with is danger or hunger. Like something that I feel is bad for me may be really good for me, which Allah knows best because Allah has created me and He knows what is the best for me. And then that way it'll be easier for me to be patient, to look at it in that perception. Like, is that the feel of it, or?
So if you want to understand this, of course, I'm not the person here to correct everybody. If you want to understand the verse here, if you say from the very beginning, Allah is merciful, Allah knows everything, He's wise, and if He gave me hunger or something dangerous, frightening things, or if He has taken my worldly goods, something that I enjoy, I want to have it, but He is merciful, it is not the answer because you cannot really, if He is merciful, why does He create all these calamities then? And the people question this. Say, you say that God is merciful, but I don't see any mercy in, let's say, tsunami or earthquake, which collapsed and thousands of people killed. Or what does it mean then? So we cannot really use some pre-assumed assumptions and in order to confirm which needs to be confirmed independently. We cannot use that independently. But there may be another way of approaching the matter, saying that look at this world, everything seems to be so perfect, but 1% of it seems to be not really fitting the general picture. Then we can question that. You know, this man seems to be a very nice man, or a person. You know, he takes care of me, helps me, etc., etc. And one day, he didn't give me the breakfast. But he has been giving me the breakfast for 20 years. Today, no. What? There is one option now. Is it because he didn't have the breakfast? Is it because he has lost his compassion for me? Or do you think there may be another reason for it? Let me evaluate the case now. For example, every day I have been given breakfast, everything was fine, but today, no breakfast. Oh, wow. So try to understand the wisdom in not having the breakfast. And for yourself, look at your stomach, you may have an infection. Yeah? And then the doctor prescribes you no breakfast. Do you think that the doctor is your enemy, doctor doesn't want you to have the breakfast, or you definitely, from your personal experience, you say, this doctor is asking me not to have the breakfast, stay hungry for some time because it is good for your health. And then come to the subject. Is there any such thing in this event, which we call them calamities? And investigate. It needs investigation. But there were some other people who wanted to say something. Definitely, I think you wanted to say something. There was somebody, a sister. Would you like to say? Use one, please. As a gentleman, give the priority to ladies. Some people still really nice.
What is my conduct when any of these happens? How do I conduct myself when I'm faced with these things? What do I say? You know, do I start cursing? Do I say, oh, Allah doesn't care about me? You know, what do I think the thing is what is my behavior and what is my conduct when I'm faced with these kind of adversities?
A good legitimate question. We won't forget that. If I do, remind me. It's a legitimate question. And also gives us the methodology to understand the real life, actually. Would you like?
I can only really judge it based on my own experience, but if I were to read this now, based on my own history and what I've experienced in my life, pre what we call my encounter with Islam or post whatever, I've had things that have been terrible by any standard. People would say, oh man, that's terrible, what a terrible event that happened to you. But now when I look back on them, they were things I had to learn from, and they were experiences that I had to go through. So really, when I look back, there's nothing that really happened to me in my life where I say, that was just terrible, there's nothing to learn from it that didn't benefit me in any way.
Pointless.
Yeah, there's nothing that was pointless, even if it was a best friend who passed away, or I got in trouble at school or something. It can be anything. So
What do you think that what changed in your perspective that your understanding or evaluating the case also changed as a consequence of your change in perspective?
At that point, it was just the way I was raised. It was the way my mother's worldview. So it was something that I was constantly being told.
Don't
was
accuse
that,
your mom here. Mom is not here. Don't feel free. She may watch the video. So somebody else's. Yeah.
So it's really
you
this
are
li-
learning from the culture, from your cultural environment.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Everybody.
But the point is that it's something that if I were to read this now, I can look back on it, and based on my experience, I can say, okay, this makes sense to me. But what she said, what happens now if something happens? What do I do in the moment? So to me, when I read this, it's just comforting to know that even if something happens, I just have to remember that based on my own experiences in my life, they always benefited me, even if they seemed terrible at the time. And then you have to connect it to your creator.
So, anybody else? Would you like? Yes.
I think this verse is taking. I think it shifts its perception towards the end. No, like in the beginning, it's saying, we shall try you with danger, hunger, loss of worldly things. Like it just says bad stuff will happen to you, right? And then towards the end, it just changes perception, saying, verily unto God do we belong, and verily unto Him we shall return. It's a total shift from the first sentence, I think it's just saying that that's where you are, that's how people perceive it, but in the end, that's how it's supposed to be and get up to this point.
Are you suggesting that the answer lies here?
Exactly.
It means the problem is demonstrated there, this here. I was expecting actually a lot of questions about this word, try. Why is he trying me? He's my creator, let's say. Okay, I'm created, I understand. Why is he crying? Did you want to say something? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From my experience, it seems like, first and foremost, I try to think about my role here. And my role here is you sort of just visiting. And I feel like in my experience, when I'm trying with these things, it highlights how much I could value into things and sort of keeps me around it. So when I'm trying, it forces me to change my perception about the worldly goods and the danger and all these other things that I've normally taken for granted, and I put a lot of value in without recognizing where it comes from.
Where it's come from. We have to question it. We shouldn't automatically react to event, you mean? Because
Sorry?
actually, excuse me, the people who watch the videos afterwards, they are strongly demanding that somebody next to the closer to the microphone repeat the question, because they complain that they can't hear the questions. Who is going to summarize it? It has two purposes. One is for the video, people who watch the video. The second is, yes, I will understand the question correctly. So most of the time I miss some points in the question to make sure for me as well to understand either the comment or the question, and also for the purpose of recording. Can you, for example, summarize the question for the sake of
I
recording?
was actually lost in the slide, so I can do this one.
So who can do? Who grasped the? Did you grasp the question? Who? Any of you?
Maybe she can repeat it.
Said, look, people ask to repeat your question or your comment.
Oh, you want me to repeat?
If you don't mind, because they couldn't really repeat or summarize what you said.
People aren't Skype.
Yeah, here.
Oh, you want me? Oh,
Yeah, please, if you don't mind.
you
Yeah.
want me to scream?
No,
Okay.
that's not what he wants
No,
to do.
what,
No, that's not
no,
what he
no,
wants
no,
to do.
no, what he's saying, is that just say it one more time, and then
Oh.
someone up here will repeat it and summarize
Oh, okay.
I have to edit that.
Well, what I was saying is, what I perceive, what I take from this is it makes me question my perception of worldly goods and hunger and danger. Because I think normally when I've been given all these things and when it's taken away, what it highlights is how much value I've put into it. And I have it, instead of putting that value into who gave them to me in the first place. So it makes me question that.
So who will summarize it? No?
The
Yeah.
thing she's saying is,
Loudly, please.
like when, for example, let's say you have a car, you get into an accident, the car is taken away, right? So you're putting value into the car, but when the car is taken away, you realize that the value doesn't belong to the car, it belongs to the one who gave it to you.
Yeah.
That's what you are expecting from me. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. It's good. So, do we agree that the main question to me is here, that the one who speaks in the verses in the Quran is at least supposedly my creator. Yeah, if someone agrees with it for any reason, of course, if he's satisfied with it, welcome. If he is not, okay, let's assume that it is correct, that my creator is speaking to me. So I will see if it is really approvable or not. That will be my question, my conclusion. So my creator here says, I will try you. Don't you ask this question? Why will you try me? Did you get the question? Why? How can I make sense of this trial? That must be understood. What does it mean, trial? There was one, and then you, and then, yeah.
Well, I would think that, unfortunately, because we are human, well, in the sense that we make lots of mistakes. We cannot be perfect in our worship of God all the
Making a
time.
mistake is a good thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we cannot, in the sense that we cannot be perfect all the time. We cannot constantly be in worship of God, which is what, ideally we would be in, which is what Jannah is, right?
So we are sensitive, actually, in reality, we are a little bit sensitive about, for example, worshiping God. But I will question that. Why do you want to worship? What does worship mean? That's another subject.
Okay.
So take it as a human being. Take us as a human being. So what do you think of yourself?
Well,
Okay.
so because of that, because we are not constantly perfect, when something bad happens to us, right, in the final line, verily unto God we return, verily unto him we shall return. When something bad happens to us, we cannot help but turn to God, and whether it is something as simple as crying out Allah, or it's turning closer to our deen, or finding our way closer to God, because that's the refuge we can find, right? The trials that we are given in this life allow us to prove ourselves, to even though we may not do it when things are good, the calamities allow us to turn to God in our most fragile times.
Okay, can I ask a question? When you are given something good, these conventionally use this example, healthy. When you are healthy, how much are you aware? How much are you aware of the value of health? Or do you really think about health? And when you, not you, somebody else, when somebody else is given illness or any kind of sickness, so what happens to this person? He or she is sick, she feels terrible, she's not happy with her life. Yet when I am ill, it happens to me in this way. I'm not happy with it. What's happening there? So as far as somebody should be ready to question his or her existence in this world, not a believer and a Muslim or no. If somebody says, no, I'm not going to question my existence in this world, why are you living there? Go and throw yourself from the roof, because it's not worth it. If you are not going to question why you are here, why do you live? You are going to die and finish. Why bother? So we cannot really override and ignore it. How do you say? Ignore it. That we have to question ourselves. Why do we live here? That is always there. If someone says, I'm questioning that I am a Muslim, whether am I a Muslim or not, it's okay, because you have to come to a conclusion. But if one says, I don't know whether I should really question my existence or not, we cannot talk anything with this person. So when we question our existence, it means I am expected to question my health. I am expected to question my illness. Because health, majority of the time, I am healthy. Sometimes from time to time, I may feel sick, or I may not be happy with my health. Okay, whatever it is, but although my minority on rare cases, I experience illness, all right, but still I do. Let's put it in the framework of the purpose of my existence. Within the framework of purpose of my existence, I will ask this question. When I receive health, I will ask this question. What does it mean for me to be healthy? What does health mean for me? When sickness comes to me, is given to me, one of these calamities are given to me, I'm happy with my computer and something happens and it breaks, I'm not happy with it. It means my worldly goods are taken away from me. Then I'm not happy with it. Again, the question must be within the framework of what does it mean for me as far as my purpose in existence is concerned. That is human. If someone doesn't ask this question, we can't talk anything with this person. But questioning the matter from existential perspective is essential. Not being a believer or non-believer is, these are conclusions. We are not talking about this. Whether we will discuss here or you will think about the health or sickness within this framework of the question, what does it mean for my existence, for my being here? Why am I here? So try to make sense of these events happening, these events which happen to you within this framework, and then you say, oh, I understand, it is good, it is an help for me to understand the real purpose of my existence. Or, no, it is useless. But we have to put the question within this framework. Why do I exist in this world? If someone doesn't ask this question, unfortunately, he is not a human being. That's why. Otherwise, asking the question is very human. And that what makes me human is to ask this question. So, okay.
Well, I mean, I kind of disagree with you in that though. Like,
Oh,
but
damn.
it's so human, for example. Like for a scenario, right? I go to Dunkin' Donuts, I drink my coffee, I'm over with it. I mean, I don't need to ask who gave me the coffee, why does it exist, why does it feel so good? You know, I drink it, I go to work, and you know, I do my thing, and you know, just get on with my life.
But I don't think so.
Okay,
That's a
good.
good example. Like you're saying you're referring something like Dunkin' Donuts. I understand, but maybe like you can question yourself in a little bigger sense than that, and maybe it'll make more sense to
No,
you.
the reason why I chose that. Yeah, well, the reason I chose that.
This comment.
Good.
So, can you please repeat your comment?
Yeah, you said you can even take it to the base level. You don't have to go somewhere big. Imagine you didn't get your coffee in the morning and there was no other coffee shop and you were so sad. Then how do you feel? It gives you a point of reflection also on the small scale, not necessarily something that's a big calamity.
No, I definitely understand. It's just, it's kind of hard. Because the reason I chose the coffee is because even at the simplest level of something so small, revelation has to make sense to you even at that point in time. Otherwise, it's not revelation, you know. So
It is God's guidance.
exactly, God's guidance has to make sense because it is His guidance in His infinite knowledge. It has
Okay,
to make sense
okay.
even then. So, like even if I don't get coffee in the morning, I don't reflect on it and like, you know, I don't reflect on me walking to work, like, you know, why am I walking or why do I exist? I don't really think those are human questions. It's just we get
You don't?
Yeah, I mean we
Oh,
go.
don't you really? It's a big loss. If you don't question, why do you drink coffee then?
But then you're just gonna be sitting there like questioning everything, no?
Yeah, of course. If you don't question yourself, why do you live in this world? I don't really understand. If you don't question, but at least not articulate in an articulated way that why do I live in this world? No, we have to have this consciousness always that why am I here today and this morning, this evening? That's why we see that in the Quran, although we, I would say accidentally we read this, the night and the morning, daytime, nighttime, and all the shifts in the constellations and the moon and the sun is always, these examples are given to us in order to draw our attention to these events and question why they are happening. If someone doesn't question, it means, we may neglect, but at least by definition, to be a human being, we have to question. Otherwise, if we don't question, we are not letting our humanity function. It means all these moments in our life which didn't have this question, search for the answer, black or blank pieces, empty life, meaningless life. Searching for the answer is worth living. You find this way or that way. That's something else. We are training here how we should approach the question. We are not being personal, of course, that was an example, but we, by definition, even if I don't question, it was my mistake, I have to question. There are many hands here. This brother wants to, I think, yes,
Because I was thinking about it, part of the whole testing thing is that if you get, like the breakfast example, if you keep getting your breakfast every day, you'll never question it until you don't have it. So I think part of the reason we're being tested is that to remind ourselves that we shouldn't take stuff for granted.
So do you experience this?
Yeah, like on a big-
So
yeah.
that's a good point. Just I wanted to say, according to your experience, what I understood from what you said, when I have my breakfast regularly, from my own human quality, I conclude that I don't really value the breakfast. When only once it doesn't occur, then I said the question was sorry, the question, the breakfast, our breakfast is question. So question was wonderful, and I'm now deprived of it now. It's very bad. And then not having breakfast is losing a lot of value in my life. There's something useful for me. So not having breakfast, you are saying, is helping you to value the breakfast. So that's your experience. Do you agree with this, brother?
I mean, like not having
Somebody
something
said
that
yes.
you normally have usually would actually lead you to asking questions. Because if you keep getting the same thing, you probably would take it for granted and won't think about it.
Yeah, I think it's true. Yeah? That's what we human beings are in this way. Okay, we are getting closer. So the trial is from our perspective. God, from God's perspective, God says, "I am going to try you." From my perspective, this trial is a help for me to realize what is happening in this world in order to question it. Otherwise, even I wouldn't know, I wouldn't realize the existence of breakfast is a blessing. I would take it for granted. So maybe human weakness, we are created or made in a way that if something is guaranteed and definitely the same, never change, my abilities, my human abilities, don't allow me to understand the value of all the blessings that I am getting. In the absence of this blessing, I understand better. So does it help my purpose in existence? So when I understand better what is happening to me, if it helps me understand better, it helps me understand better the purpose of my life here. So what's happening to me here?
You kind of summarized, but I think in terms of our existence, what maybe it's a matter of semantics, but I view this verse as more being the conclusion. So what it's trying to say is that this life is impermanent, and and that's something that people forget, that everything in life is impermanent, and the tragedy behind that is that if we don't realize that, we take all the small things for granted. So, for example, like the coffee example, we fail to recognize the blessings in that coffee, and the reason we don't is because we don't recognize the impermanence of the coffee. But if you extend it to something bigger, for example, we take for granted the people in our lives. We take for granted the education, our health, the fact that we can worship, or these things, because we don't see that eventually all these things will go away. The people that we're sitting with here, we're all going to die one day. This halakha will not be here forever. This is a blessing that we're here. And I think that impermanence comes from heedlessness. And so, for example, Surah Nabiya, the Arabic escapes me, but for example, it begins by saying, man's reckoning is near, and yet they remain heedless. Further down in the surah, it says, we did not create everything as like lagibin, like play or whatever. I don't know how to translate it, but plaything.
No. In vain.
In vain, and because we don't recognize that, that's why we have this heedlessness. And there's a saying that I heard that the roots of all diseases of the heart, whether it be anger, hate, etc., comes from heedlessness. And so I believe what this ayah is saying is it's the answer to the purpose of existence, that because life is impermanent, because everything's impermanent, we therefore must recognize that it all traces back to the source. And even those who don't believe in a source must recognize that life is impermanent. And that's where that sort of crisis comes into play. Why is everything impermanent? But over here it gives the answer.
You wanted to say something?
I totally agree with what you just said, but I don't think that all trials come in the form of heedlessness. I think that there are many forms of trials, and I think that there's something to be learned from different types of trials, because God is testing us the entire time we're on this earth. And, the example of, someone in your life being taken away, it's not because necessarily you didn't appreciate them, but maybe you grew from that situation where, something in your perspective at the time horrible happened to you, but later on you look back and it wasn't because you didn't appreciate that person or thing, it was just that you were going to become a better person after that event, or something good came out of it that you didn't recognize at the time. But I don't think it's always taking things for granted, which is why we are tested.
Did you mean that for punishment, sometimes the Creator may take it? If someone doesn't really appreciate it, takes it away?
Just like the idea that you don't appreciate something as much until it's taken away, and then after you have been tested or something has been taken away, you appreciate it even more afterwards. But I don't think that's always the reason why.
So what is the other reason? Other possible reasons?
It could be anything. It could be just a major change in your life. It could be...
Why, ask the question, if you don't mind, I'm just interfering this. Why a change in my life is needed? Why is it needed?
It may change your perspective on
So
things.
why do I need to change my perspective coming to the same source, I think, same reason, in order to understand why I am here? So what is happening to me? Why are they happening to me?
But that could make you more aware of God. It can make you more aware of blessings in your life. It can make you more aware of your Creator, but not necessarily because you were always taking things for granted. I'm not sure if that makes sense.
Whatever the reason, do we agree that whatever happens to us is a help or helping hand to get a satisfactory answer for my questions concerning my existence in this world? It means, can we say that this, we try you by means of blah, 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 whatever it is, we have to pay attention that this trial is for my help. Whatever the means or venues they come from, doesn't matter. But these trials are for my help. Helping in which sense? Just answering my questions concerning my existence. And then you will get the answer. Or your answer will be yours. Don't label the answer. saying that I'm a believer, I'm not a believer, whatever it is. But this is these are all given to you in order to help you to get your, if you like, existential answers, or answers to your existential questions.
Just going off of what the sister said and what Hamza said, I think what I thought of in an earlier lesson where we talked about how as human beings we have an affinity for certain things. So we have an affinity not to be sick, right? We have an affinity to stay healthy, to be comfortable. We also had, you mentioned in another class, the affinity for eternity or eternalness. So I think when we have consistency in our daily, like if we get breakfast every day, we like it because we have an affinity for eternity and for eternal things. So when something kind of interjects, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something bad, like we just don't get our breakfast, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It kind of puts into perspective that where we are now is not eternal. So then what do we put our desire for eternity in if it's not here? So it kind of makes you question, if this world is not, if the things here are not eternal, then there must be some fulfillment because everything else we desire has a fulfillment. So
can I conclude from your comment? Whatever is happening here in this world is helping me understand why I am here, what's happening to me, and extending it that, look, this world is not enough for me. I want extensions. It means I want an eternal, for example, I want to be satisfied eternally by my, whoever is creating this world, and they're giving all these blessings to me. I want to have it eternally, but as far as the conditions of this world are concerned, there is no guarantee for eternity. So it pushes me, it encourages me to get or look for the eternal source. There must be an eternal source. And still, these reminders, by taking the things away from me, by the way, when something bad happens, I don't want them to happen. This sense is also given to me by my whoever created me. It means he says this is bad. He says you wouldn't like it. You shouldn't like it because I gave you this sense. And now decide about the meaning of what's happening to you. That it opens up my way. Because I cannot say that I like this and this sense of liking belongs to me. I produced it. And I don't like this and this sense of disliking belongs to me. I produce it. It is given to me. Exactly like my physical body is given to me. These senses are given to me as well. So the one who gives these senses and at the same time gives something to me that I don't like, definitely there is a purpose of teaching here. Definitely. So we have to take lesson from it. But you're extending that, look, your extension, what I understood from your comment, look, you want not only today coffee in the morning, but I don't know, it's that this man, I don't drink coffee. But this man, it's up to you. So he wants coffee in this world, not only in this world, tomorrow as well, not only tomorrow, 80 years later, hopefully, but he wants eternally. Because he realizes the existence of the blessing that he is receiving. And he has to ask the question, where does it come from? That is the stimulus, actually, for human beings, encouraging human beings to question the motivations behind it. Question what's happening to you, what you had, what you received. So as a result of this motivations or encouragements, urging factors, we realize that I want all these beautiful things happening to me eternally. Because human beings want everything at the best level and eternally. Ah, where I am now, it gives a beautiful perspective, if you like, to your humanity, and teaches you that you are created for eternity. Who provides it to you? That's why you find that I need eternity, and there must be a source of eternity. What can it be? The sun, the moon, Mr. Obama, or who can be? Who can be your father? Who can provide the eternity? Find out. And you understand that really we need the creator of this world, and this world, the creator of this world, must be an eternal being. We understand that. That's why try. He said, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بَلِيَّة, it means really the beliya in Persian language, in Urdu language, in Turkish language, in Arabic language. Bala means really something bad. Right? Beliya, bala. When we want to curse something, we say, may Allah give your bala. We say, it's very bad. But I say, inshallah, because beliya is beautiful.
Dr. Habib, can I ask something? I was quiet all day long.
Who is, exception, there's somebody asked me, who is this guy who keeps asking questions? I was away, until from 14 hours driveway. So someone said, who is this asking that? I know.
If we're living in a not eternal life, right?
In this world.
In this world. That's all I know. I don't know any other world. I only know this world.
Okay.
Can
Neither
someone
do I.
also make the argument that the God that created this world must be also not eternal because everything else is not eternal?
Can you conclude this? Think about it. I know you are a clever guy. Look, creating, renewing.
But nothing is eternal.
So, this created world is not eternal. Renovation of the creator, creation, the act of creation is permanent.
How do
Look,
we know?
Yesterday, were you not here in this world yesterday?
Yeah, but I won't be tomorrow.
But today you are here. Who gave you your existence yesterday, and who gave you your existence today? How do you explain your existence? Yesterday's existence and today's existence. This morning's existence and today's existence. Don't you know that this world is continuously flowing into existence, and every moment is renewed?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's eternal.
Which one? What do you mean eternal? Yeah.
I know that it's working now, but I don't know if it's going to be working tomorrow.
So there are other ways of understanding this. Yeah, not only the repetition of the act of creation, but also every single thing, every single moment, every single thing, every single moment is coming into existence within a perfect whole. So the creator of every single thing at the same time making every single point perfect within the perfect whole. Not as one by one is perfect, shows that it is only possible if the source is eternal. If the source wasn't eternal, then he wouldn't be able to make every single thing, every single moment in an eternal way, in a perfect way. I was going to say perfect. In a perfect way, because, for example, if the source was not absolute, it must be limited. If the source was limited, and any limited source cannot make logically, cannot make every single point perfectly, and not only itself, in its whole relationship with the world is perfectly, without time and space limitations. So, as if, can you get the last division of time? Do you understand my question? Does it make sense to you? Last division, it means that is the minimum time limit, time span. There is no smaller than this. No. Can you get space also? A thing, that's the minute thing, the smaller thing, and there is no smaller thing than this. So the creation is taking place in a way that the source must be absolute. If the source wasn't absolute, it would take time, it would follow the space differences. At the same time, everything is perfect at the same time. We know mathematically, only before the infinite, every number is equal. Mathematically, logically, do you follow me? Logically, mathematically, only before the infinite, every number is equal. That's why mathematically is demonstrated, this method is demonstrated, infinite divided by 5 is infinite. Infinite divided by 1000 is infinite, because infinite cannot be divided. So in this world, there is no time, there is no space which has any gap. Everything is happening at the same time in the perfect way. Can you, in any discipline, can you demonstrate, in any discipline, biology, physics, chemistry, whatever the discipline you are following, you are expert on, can you show a thing which is not perfectly fitting into the rest of the whole universe in its existence, in its coming into existence? So we understand that the type of act of creation demonstrates that the source is absolute. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to explain the existence of anything in this world. That may sound a little bit, I don't know, philosophical or deep thinking. It's not, but we are not used to. We are not used to thinking the existence of the things here in terms of perfectly harmonious with the rest of the world without any division. You cannot divide anything to the last point. It means they say that my source is absolute, endless. If something is absolute, must be infinite. Logically, there's no other way to explain it. Would you like to comment more?
Yeah, I was thinking, for example, if the source of creation didn't have, for example, infinite knowledge, there would be room for mistakes. There would be room for mistakes within the creation.
Not only mistakes, gaps, sequences. First word, and then moon, and then sun, and then another star, and then another star. Every act of creation is taking place at the same moment within an infinite division. Every division is perfect. So no one can say that logically, no one can say that the source may be limited, impossible. Because everything is coming into existence perfectly within the harmony of the whole universe, and this harmony of the whole universe is continuously changing, and no one can find the ultimate division. It is endless. No one can find the last piece of particle in the atomic structure. It means, so the verse is demonstrating itself. We have to really take the creation extremely seriously. I would say, don't count your, I don't know how many days you have fasted during Shaban as a sunnah. Count the particles in an atom. That brings you closer to God better. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't fast. No, it's not important. But trying to see the reality of this creation is essential. If you really speak about it, or if we really speak about it in terms of religious activities, fasting during Shaban is sunnah. But trying to understand and see that every single thing is coming into existence momentarily and in a perfect way within the perfect harmony of the rest of the universe without time and space limitations. Now, that is al-fard al-ayn. It means really personal imperative on you. Because without realizing the presence of God, the absolute being in the universe, what are you doing? Are you fasting? Why are you fasting? Fasting for what? Worshipping God. Who's God? Yeah, we have to be brave. No, foundations are more essential. Then if you are satisfied with that, you are always closer to God, near God, with God, always in your being. Because of course we don't speak personally. I know when you ask questions hidden in everybody's mind, including mine. So these are questions. They are very good questions. They are really precious. Any question comes to your mind, see it as a Jew. That's a good question. Let me find the answer for it. And try to find the answer for it. Don't run away from it. If by running away from the questions, you don't solve any of your questions, any of your problems. You really sink into the problems if you don't try to find the answer to your questions. That's very human. That's why we are here. That's why we are here. To question. That's why if God didn't give us these all trials, okay, we wouldn't be able to question why am I getting the, I don't know, this guy gets his coffee from Dunkin' Donut or I don't know, what are the other, Starbucks. I would say, why don't you make it at home? So he will take the coffee and drink it every day, Wawa, stop by Wawa, get your coffee, drink it. Are you a human being? Are you a human being? If you don't question, what does it mean? I get my coffee every day. What does it mean? I enjoy it. What does enjoyment mean? Then I would put a big question mark. Whether you are a human being or just a living being.
I think that it's just a daunting task. I mean, I think all of us would think the same thing. Well, if I'm constantly thinking about everything that I think about, or that I feel, or that I do, you would turn into kind of I don't know, not crazy necessarily, but you would be kind of spacey all the time and
awareness.
And it's good, but it's different.
Awareness. Have you studied in a college?
Yes.
Yeah, you did. I know. That's why I'm asking this. So you did. So during that period, you were a student. Yeah.
Yes.
You had your ID in your pocket. Student ID in your pocket. Look. You go and speak to people, and go to the restaurant, etc. But you have your bag with you, and the texts are there, and somewhere in your mind, I've got this assignment I have to do tonight. If not tonight, tomorrow. We love procrastination. Tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. After seeing this person, after speaking to my friend, then after having my dinner, oh no, I have to get a tea, and then afterwards, but it's there, right? And then as soon as something happens, for example, you want to enter this building, they say, ID, oh, it's here, I'm a student. Oh, it comes up. So while you are a student, do you forget really that you are a student? Oh, I have forgotten that I was a student. I thought I wasn't. No, you neglect, you just, oversee it, and not to see it really, but not to be conscious of it as if 5 minutes before sitting for the test. That's the different awareness level. But still you are aware that you are a student. Don't you think that at least we are, as human beings, as we are given so enormous abilities, we have to keep in mind that we are students here in existence.
There's a difference, Dr. Ali. There's a difference. Like
Of course.
he went to the admissions office. He paid his tuition.
Yeah.
He made a conscious decision that he wants to go to university, right? And so he knows that he's a student,
Yeah.
right? Versus somebody that was born into this world,
Mhm.
did not make any decision in that part, right?
Didn't
He-
make.
it's-
And
it-
shall
it's-
I make a joke? He doesn't know that he exists.
No, he
No,
knows
be
he
honest,
exists, but he
man, be
doesn't-
honest, really.
He
No,
didn't
no.
make a decision so that he's living with that decision, that he's constantly thinking of it.
No,
I'm
look,
just saying there's a difference between
no,
that
not
analogy and.
no, constantly thinking of it, being aware of it. If we don't, it is our mistake that we are choosing something wrong. So we have to be aware of it. If somebody forgets about the fact that he exists, right? He exists in this world. He is given existence. Then I ask him, I'm sorry, but we all pray, I know. Why do you pray? You have already forgotten your own existence. Why do you say, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen? Praise be to God who is the Lord of the world. For what? You don't exist. It is impossible. But what the problem is, time is getting late, but the problem is we don't see, we don't hear, we don't see that thinking of my own or being aware of my own existence is the essence of religion. That is the problem. That's why I'm here. I want to share with you. If you don't realize that you exist, why do you pray? Why do you fast? Pointless. It is impossible. But we know that we exist, but we don't think that thinking about my existence is the main pillar, the essence of religion. Whatever you understand from religion, a spiritual life, whatever, your convictions, etc., whatever it is. The main point is aware of your existence, that I exist. And then questions comes. What does it mean? Why do I exist? And not only I physically exist, my senses also exist. Yeah? My emotions, my tendencies, my expectations all exist. And what does it mean? And then your prayer starts making sense according to your answer. Your fasting starts to make sense. Your good actions start making sense. Otherwise, just repetition without really realizing. That is by definition. No one really forgets that he or she exists. But the problem is, again, I'm repeating, we don't think that bearing in mind, being aware of one's existence is the essence of religion. We think that the essence of religion is prayer. The Prophet says, "As-salatu ma'ad-din." He says, prayer is the main pillar of religion. But we should ask, what is deen? Yeah? We take it for granted that deen is, we know that deen is Islam, more Christianity, whatever. But what is deen? After establishing your deen, your religion, then your prayer makes sense. If someone doesn't know, that is not aware of his existence, where is religion? I don't understand. I don't make sense. I cannot make sense of it. So we have to bear in mind this side of the matter, inshallah. So the answer is here. I think we have to close. Answer is here to the question, the trial. What is happening here? Trial. Why? To realize what my existence is here for. What is the meaning of my existence here? What is happening to me here in this world? Sometimes healthy, sometimes ill or sick. Why? Sometimes I receive my coffee in the mornings and one day there's no coffee. Oh, what? And then he says, unto God we belong. Why? Whatever. But we means, what is we here? What do you understand from we?
Everything.
All creation.
All creation, everything. Not only we Muslims in ICNYU. So, we, everything, whatever, all the coffees you have, example, we are using the coffee example. So, all the coffees we have say, I belong to God, is the creator, who is the creator of the universe. Is it so? Can you explain the existence of coffee without attributing it to the creator of the universe? Can you? So the God says, you have to be aware that all things are coming from the creator. That's why you have to realize that this verse is to be read in this way. Please, my audience, the Quran says, my reader, my audience, realize that coffee is from the creator of the universe. And unto him we shall return. It means, not after I die, I will receive the coffee and return it back to its creator. Huh? This is from you. This is from you. I acknowledge it. Don't say, I paid for it. Because the payment doesn't explain the existence of coffee. Payment is a transaction. Doesn't have any meaning as far as the existence of coffee is concerned. Are we clear about this? So, inshallah, we will done with this verse, inshallah. Yeah? Are we? Do we have any question? This verse is very frequently used by the Muslims, by Muslim population. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We belong to God and we will return to God. Means everything is coming from the creator of the universe. I acknowledge it and I return it back to him. It means acknowledge the ownership. If someone says, well, for example, let's say these glasses belong to a hub. All right? I say, I'm very happy with these glasses. It helps me to read, without which I can't really read. And this is my friend's gift to me. I thank him. I'm returning the glasses back to him. You don't have to give the glasses back. Acknowledge it. And we can acknowledge it. It is the universe, everything in the world is created in a way that we have to acknowledge this. We cannot explain this thing. People may speculate saying, we don't know, they may be developing by themselves. You are a human being, use your mind. Do they really, can the things by themselves evolve or develop? Ask question, you are a human being. Challenge the question. Challenge. Ask them, can it really evolve itself? But my body, can it? Can one event evolve into another event by themselves? Ask the question, do they have the qualities to do that? Ask yourself. If you say, yes, I'm happy with it, and I'm convinced, go ahead. Take your ticket to hell. You can't. You can't. It is a lie. It is just escapism. It is just, helplessness. Because there is no other way. It might have been developing for billions of years. I must observe it right now that one thing, one atom, one particle, one cell is really making itself in another moment. giving existence to itself in another moment. I can't. Can you? I don't know, you sit. Can you? Challenge yourself. Can you give an existence, your existence tomorrow? You find it. You are given. So God says, return it back to me. Be honest. Be honest. Don't, what's the word? Steal. There was a better word. Sorry?
Cheat.
Don't cheat. Don't steal somebody else's property. Don't say, this belongs to me. I belong to myself. You don't belong to yourself. So you can solve the problem of your existence here, because we are giving the opportunity really to realize really what is going on to me. Because if everything is static, if everything is monotonous, then we don't really realize. For example, if you are going, that was an interesting thing. Somebody was traveling on a transportation. It was a ferry boat, and the seagulls. A seagull was flying next to the ferry boat in Istanbul, which is they wait for the people to give them pieces of bread, and so special bread, they love it. So they fly together with the ferry boat. So he saw that he was sitting inside the ferry boat, and he saw one seagull is sitting on there through the window, on the thing. He was so surprised that he was seeing the head of the seagull. Well, how can it stay there? Here. They were traveling in the same speed. So he realized that, he's traveling in the same speed, that's why. It means monotonous activities, monotonous actions do not really make us realize that they are moving. It means monotonous creation hides the reality that the creation is constantly being changed. We have to understand that. Constantly being changed. Did you get the point? So monotony is right? Monotony? Monotony. This is right? Monotony. Needs some change. So that we will, it's moving. Yeah? It means recreation is taking place constantly. Only then we realize. That's how we are equipped. So the Creator knows my capacity and addresses me accordingly, according to my capacity. Changes it. Changes the speed of creation, type of creation. I realize, health exists. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I think people are getting impatient. Shall we carry on this subject? There are more verses.
Inshallah.
Yeah?
Inshallah.
Or shall we change the subject completely?
No,
Maybe.
stay in this one.
Which one? Continue or change? Continue.
Oh, for
Continue.
next tonight.
So not tonight. Next week. Next week. Continue the same subject. And change the subject. We are fed up with it. Who wants that? No one? Change the subject. We are... Continue. Sorry? Without change, we cannot. Okay, we will change the verses, inshallah, next week. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wahum alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Al-Fatiha.